Okay, I'm just waiting for that to appear on the screen. Okay, the meeting is now recorded, so I'll now begin by taking the Sederin for the Clydesdale Area Committee on Wednesday, the 10th of June, 2026. Do we have Councillor Allison?
Thank you, give apologies, Emma.
Thank you. I can see that we have present Councillor Barker, Councillor Corbett, Councillor Gowland, Councillor Hamilton. Do we have Councillor Horsham? No. Councillor Lambie? No. We also have present Councillor Lockhart, Councillor Logan, Councillor Mars. I have apologies from Councillor McCallan. We also have present Councillor McClyman and Councillor Shearer. There are also a number of officers present today. I'll hand back to yourself for today's business, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. So the first thing on the agenda is the declarations of interest, which are quite a few. So, Carol, if you want to move ready through them, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. So for declarations of interest, I have Councillor McClyman for item 10 for the application by Clydesdale Community Initiatives Lanark and the application by 4th and District Initiative. Councillor Gowland, I also have item 10, the application for Lusmahago Development Trust and the application for Goxgrin and Wellbeing CIC. For Councillor Mars, I have item 9, the application by Lanark Universal Connections. For item 10, the application by Kirkville Bank Home and Sporting Club, and also the application by 4th and District Initiative. Councillor Mars also has a transparency statement. So for item 5 is the HMIE report for Lanark Grammar School as family members attend the school. And for item 10, which is the community grant application for Clydesdale Community Initiatives Lanark, a family member used to work there but has now left. Do we have any other declarations of interest or transparency statements?
No, not like it. Okay then. So we'll proceed with item 2, which is the minutes of the previous meeting. So that's pages 5 to 10. We agreed on those minutes.
Yeah.
And item 3 is the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service 25-26 scrutiny report. And we've got a presentation by Andrew Crawford, Station Commander for Scottish Fire and Rescue Service. And we have also brought along with them Barry Heat. Okay, so do we have this one?
Yeah, it's no one. Let's see this. Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. First of all, as you mentioned, Manny Crawford, I'm the Station Commander for Lanark Fire Station. And with me, I've got Watch Commander Barry Peat, who is one of the local area liaison officers based up in Clydesdale, who basically mainly works from the South Lanarkshire. Obviously, if you're not new at the report, it gives a bit of detail on what's been happening over the last year. And basically, we look at 6 key priorities, which is the reduction of dwelling fires, reduction of fire casualties and fatalities, reduction of deliberate fire setting, reduction of fires in non-domestic properties, reduction in road traffic collisions, and the reduction of unwanted fire signals. The first page of the report is basically a summary of what's been happening over the last year. I'll go into more detail as the report progresses. We have had an increase in the number of incidents the SFRS has attended by 10%, which again we'll go into as the report goes on. But with an increase in a couple of other areas as well. Number of fire casualties has been up. Obviously, this is the casualties requiring first aid or hospital treatment. And the good part of the report is we have 0 fire fatalities, as was the same last year. So for that point of view, it's really good to report that. Non-domestic fires was risen from 7 to 17, 10 of which were accidental. Non-fire, which is all special service incidents, has increased by 4% from 167 to 174 again. We'll get into these in more detail as we go on. If we could go to the next page, please. The next two pages are basically trends over the last 4 years to give an idea where we're at and where we came from. As you can see, there has been kind of overall we've had a downturn over the years and it has improved, but there has been the odd peak here and there, like deliberate fires. You can see on the slide from Q1 last year. Again, I've gone to that in a bit more detail as the report progresses. If we can move on actually to accidental dwelling fires, like the next one again, please.
Next one, if you want to
Or if you go to the next one.
Next one.
The number of accidental dwelling fires remains the same, 36 on. This is obviously something that we want to start tackling and we want to start reducing the number of these fires. Our community action team, they consistently deliver a lot of fire safety risk recognition training to our partners to increase the knowledge of our pathway referral process for high risk home fire safety visits. These are aimed at reducing the likelihood of accidental dwelling fires occurring within households. And obviously the report goes into a bit of detail there. It goes into like source of ignition. Cooking appliances is obviously the highest source. So this could be careless, like people may have left something on the top, may have went out, that type of thing. There is a lot of engagement there. We also carry out for any incident a post-domestic incident response where a free home fire safety visit is offered. As I say, we have continued to work with our partner organisation to improve the referral pathway for high risk visits, and we do offer the risk recognition training. Last year there was a rolling quarterly training session with South Lanarkshire Council care teams. During 25-26 we carried out 6 sessions to 90 carers. And additionally, South Lanarkshire housing teams received 5 presentations to 75 housing officers. Further training was delivered to NHS Lanarkshire, Lanarkshire Care and Repair and South Lanarkshire's Adult Protection Committee. So can we go on to the next page, please? Again, the number of non-fatal accidental dwelling fire casualties has gone up from 0 to 5. Now, the number of fire fatalities of fire remains at 0, which is also really positive because we don't want any fatalities at all. So hopefully the prevention work is working. The number of first aid, the number of people living first aid at scene was unchanged at 0. Those requiring hospital treatment for slight injuries rose from 0 to 3, and those requiring hospital treatment for serious injuries rose from 0 to 2. Each fire casualty is also a reporting procedure followed by the operational crews, which informs myself of the detailed circumstances and extent of the injury after these incidents. Following of the incident, a domestic dwelling, our crews will carry out a post-domestic incident response to offer reassurance and a home fire safety visit should they require it, with detection fitted if necessary. Again, we work closely with the social work housing and various other partners to ensure that any members of the local community who are identified as adults at risk are fully supported and care packages are put in place to keep them safe. There's a lot of work done by the team that Barry works with the community action team, trying to identify any areas of people at risk and try to put any additional benefits in place if they need smoke detectors, if there's any like fire retardant bedding. There's other fire retardant stuff as well offered by, isn't there?
Yeah, so we have fire retardant mats as well, so surrounding fire retardant shawls if someone's going to they're bound to the one chair or the one bed, and we can use that stuff as well.
So if we go on to the next page, please, that's non-fire casualties. Non-fire casualties are as a result of a special service. A special service, a fire service, can go from road traffic incidents, it can go from attending assist partner agencies by gaining entry to the premises, opening doors where unfortunately somebody may have injured themselves or fallen or maybe concerns for the person within. There has been a slight increase in this from 167 to 174. The number of non-fire fatal casualties from special services incidents increased by 39% from 49 to 68. And unfortunately, the number of fatalities from incidents that were attended has increased from 6 to 8. These are all from separate incidents. 36 people were rescued by firefighters as opposed to 31 in 24-25. People given first aid at scene rose from 4 to 8. People being treated with slight injuries increased from 25 to 38. And those being treated in hospital with serious injuries rose from 20 to 24. Again, we do continue to work with partner agencies to look to reduce the number of casualties from special service incidents. We're seeing an increase in requests for assistance from partner agencies to gain entry to properties for emergency and medical incidents. This is probably why we've had an upturn, because it is quite common where if an ambulance or more so an ambulance comes up, they might need our assistance to gain property. So we also want their figures as well. We may have to assist the ambulance sometimes. It may be our crews involved in carrying out CPR or just basically helping out as bodies for the ambulance service. Again, unfortunately, the fatalities has increased. One was to attend to a person who had suffered a cardiac arrest in the street in Symington. One was to a person in a domestic accident who was stuck under a tractor in Biggar. One was from a road traffic collision in Newmarket car park. This was listed as a road traffic collision, but it may have been a medical incident within a stationary car. And the 5 others were from affecting entry incidents, which would have been the ones where we've assisted, and unfortunately, something may have happened to the individual within the premises itself. If we keep on that page, please. Deliberate fires. The number of deliberate fires has increased by 31%, and this is always a significant increase. Grassland, woodland and crop fires increased from 41 to 62. This can actually be partly as a result of good weather. We had a good summer last year, and Q1 is where one of the peaks was. If we get the good weather, we tend to get an increase in the grass and rubbish fires, because unfortunately it could be accidental or deliberate, but that's one of the spikes. We try and do as much as we can with speaking to local schools and local teenagers, but it's one of the things that we do get the odd spike if there is good weather or a good summer. We have collaborated with South Lanarkshire Council and Police Scotland to ensure prompt removal of refuse and monitor areas affected by deliberate fire setting. The operational crews also submit community intelligence reports to our community action team to address emerging concerns and support community safety. This is where we do try to identify any trends in any problem areas where, if there's a possibility, we can maybe try and get the CCTV, or if it's relevant that there's a school nearby, we can maybe get in and speak to some of the school pupils as well. Overall, the Lord's story in deliberate fire setting compared to the previous year. Obviously, this is mainly due to the weather, unfortunately, but it's that old thing in Scotland. If we get good weather, which we don't tend to get, it can see us get an increase in the grass fires and the refuse fires as well. So, if you want to the next slide, please. Non-domestic fires refer to fires that occur in commercial or industrial buildings such as offices, hotels, factories or shops. The number has risen from 7 to 17, 10 of which were accidental. There was a general spread in types of property affected, most commonly occurring in agricultural properties. In 7 of the incidents, the extent of damage caused was limited to either none or the item first ignited. Any of these type of fires, we conduct what's called a post-fire audit by the Fire Safety Enforcement and Audit Officers. So basically, if the crews do go out, they would put in a form notifying enforcement team, and they would attend that premises within a short period of time to see if there is any ongoing concerns, but it may just have been purely accidental, but they will address any enforcement issues at the time. We also carry out annual fire safety audits. We'll also conduct the premises. These involve sleeping risk hotels or care homes. And the aim is to promote fire safety compliance and reduce the risk of harm to both people and property. The fire crews always at the station as well also carry out annual operational intelligence visits to a number of premises. These are to usually the higher risk sites, and they should be carrying, they will be carrying out quarterly familiarisation visits to care homes to ensure that they're fully aware of any risks in our local area. The operational intelligence is a really good tool that the crew use where they'll go out and they'll get plans of the properties, they'll identify the sources for water, where the hydrants are, where everything is, and identify any risks within any of the buildings, so that if they do go, they have access to this information via tablets on their appliances. Go to the next page, please. Unwanted fire alarm signals. From the 1st of July 2023, the Fire and Rescue Service ceased attending automatic fire alarm call-outs to commercial businesses and workplace premises, such as factories, offices, shops and leisure facilities, unless a fire has been confirmed. If control room operators now ask anyone who reports a fire alarm to check whether there is an actual fire or signs of fire before sending the nearest resource. This does not apply to sleeping risk premises such as hospitals, care homes, hotels or domestic dwellings. The SFRS continues to work with repeat offenders to follow the low number of these incidents. Now, this is one area where the figures have improved, where we've had a decrease of 19% down to 143. The majority of our unwanted fire alarm signals incidents originate from residential care homes, sheltered housing and hospitals, medical care premises. We will always attend these type of premises because of the sleeping risk and the danger to any individuals that may be staying there. Again, these are also subject to that post-fire audit if there is a small fire. And a lot of these can be put down to bumped host or the actuation of a call point within the care home or the hospital. On the actual figures there, the residential homes is obviously our biggest, has our biggest numbers, but 102 over the course of a year isn't really a massive amount. And if we get a care home where it's maybe a case of we're going out to see care home 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a week or whatever, we will engage with the care home to see, is it just a case of maybe a different type of smoke detector or heat detector, or look to see if there's anything we can do, advice we can give to improve this and decrease the numbers of the unwanted attendances. If we go to the next slide, please. Road traffic collisions. The number of road traffic collisions is pretty much the same. It says there's a decrease there, it's 60 to 50, so the numbers are pretty much the same. The number of non-fatal casualties has increased from 36 to 45, and the number of fatalities is decreased from 3 to 1, which is obviously good news, but still we don't want to have any at all. So that's something that we can try to work on. 16 people were rescued by firefighters, which is up an increase of 13 from the year before. People given first aid at the scene rose from 2 to 6. The overtime hospital treatment for slight injuries rose from 17 to 27. And those requiring hospital treatment for serious injuries decreased from 17 to 12. Obviously, some of the numbers are pretty similar with regard to the amount of road traffic collisions, but the number of injuries may be people are maybe reporting more, or maybe saying that they want to get checked out more than beforehand, where some people just self-evacuate without getting themselves checked out, but maybe they've actually been more cautious in getting themselves checked by the members of the ambulance service. The time of day that most incidents occur seems to be between 9 and 10 and 3 to 4, but this isn't massive amounts of incidents. 46 of the 59 road traffic collisions involved cars, 5 involved lorries and HGVs. And the most common location was the M74, with 14 incidents between junctions 12 Douglas and 15 Beetle. 9 of these incidents occurred on the southbound carriageway. Again, with the M74 being a main thoroughfare, it's very difficult to educate people because of you'll probably find the majority of these casualties are from our area. So it's something that we can hopefully might be able to tackle, but I think it'll be really difficult, to be honest. The age of casualties involved was quite evenly spread amongst different age groups. There's not even a specific age group that it ranges from 17 to 69. And to try and combat this, our community action team have distributed over drivers campaign literature within the locality aimed at educating over 70s regarding the requirement to renew their driving licence every 3 years, and for eyesight to be able to read a number plate from 20 metres away. We've also distributed drive on the left literature to service stations and tourist areas along the M74 corridor, aimed obviously at foreign tourists as well. We work closely with the local community police officers to increase road safety awareness and of risk-taking behaviours to local high schools. And the SFRS will continue with their communication engagement with various social media campaigns. Pupils from S5 and S6 at Kilwick High School received their road safety input in 2025-26. The community action team also delivered a shield safety at home game from information and learning through demonstrations workshop to community payback participants throughout the course of the year. In conjunction with South Marshall Justice Services, and part of this close focus is road safety. One of the other things that we do also biker bound. 6 sessions were delivered March up to 81 motorcyclists. The aim of biker bound is to reduce motorcycle fatalities and casualties on the roads throughout Scotland. Another aim is to highlight how those on 2 wheels can be more easily identified by other road users to make it less likely that they themselves will become a casualty. And riders are given potential life-saving skills to help them make the scene of a collision safe and protect their community. We've also attended an offer doing the road safety officer day at Shatterley Park. Over 250 young people from schools across the local area attended and received input from the community action team. But there is a lot of work we have tried to do with road traffic collisions, but obviously with the road network we have got a lot of visitors travelling through the area, so it can be difficult to, hopefully we can get a decrease in the numbers and we'll keep working away at that. So go to the next slide please. This is home fire safety visits. In the last year we've carried out 227 home fire safety visits. This is a decrease from the day before, but this has created a change in the national SFRS procedure for us. As of February 2025, all of our home fire safety visits are now only carried out at residents that meet our high risk criteria. The number of high risk home fire safety visits is actually increased by 19% from 191 to 227. And the number of fire safety enforcement audits have remained the same at 114. The home fire safety visit criteria, we obviously had a lot more numbers in the past, but when we're going to low risk ones, these are the individuals that tend not to specifically need the visits, whereas if we're trying to target more high risk individuals, that we can get smoke detection where there may not be any, or there may be a higher risk of fire, and hopefully this will prevent and drive down the numbers of the accidental burn fires going forward. The eligibility criteria for the home fire safety visit has been agreed according to analysis of fires, fatalities and serious casualties, and will be determined by a self-referral process online or by telephone and by partner referrals. The key contributing factors to fatal fires found in the analysis are detailed below, which is fire-related crime and antisocial behaviour involved in fire, an individual in the household who is currently a target of fire-related crime, an individual who has shown an interest or a fascination with fire, increased risk of fire due to age over 65, uses medical oxygen and someone in the household smokes, uses emollient products and someone in the household smokes, uses a medical airflow mattress and someone in the household smokes, alcohol dependency and or drug or substance dependency, ability to react in the event of a fire, if they're unable to self-evacuate in an emergency due to mobility issues or medical conditions, including hearing and or vision impairment, high levels of further drinking, uses medication that causes drowsiness, visual disturbance or dizziness, and or dementia or cognitive impairment. The following can be seen within the home: visible scorcher, burn marks, and signs of unsafe cooking practices and or signs of unsafe smoking practices. So there is quite a lot in there, but it's a lot of individuals that we may target who we would see as being a higher risk. And if they hit the certain criteria, we will provide the new linked smoke alarms and carry out a home fire safety visit. Thank you. Next page, please.
Just want to wait, we've got a fire alarm at 2:30. You're last. Yes.
The last one maybe I've took place with regarding the community safety engagement over the last year. The details some of the further prevention and partnership work that we've carried out in the locality and local authority area. And please feel free to review. I won't get into massive detail on, but we'll get the driving safety forward, the partnership with the in group. And we'll get the salt shakers distribution, which was quite well received as well. And it's a budget donated to us by South Lanarkshire Council's Unintentional Injuries Fund, who distributed over 1,300 salt shakers to 20 community groups across each of the 4 localities in the local area. And also we've got water safety preventions which go out to carry out presentation at Lanark and Armagh High School to S3 and S4 year groups, because again it's that Scottish thing, if we get really good weather, people want to get out to places and jump into the water. Unfortunately, I used to work in a water rescue station and they don't tend to look what's in the water before they jump in it sometimes, so it's just about raising awareness to that. And we've also got the South Lanarkshire Fire Reach, which is a really good programme getting young people in, and it's always received really well. It teaches them can develop a young person's skills for learning life and work. The modules have been linked to Scottish Accredited Qualification Framework. And that concludes the presentation. If anybody's got any questions, thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for that very detailed report. And I'm really pleased to see that the water safety, because that has been an issue in real Lanark in the past. And it's really good to see that you're going into the schools, and because it normally is the younger people.
Forgetting these weather, unfortunately, it's good, but they want to go to places where they tend to want to jump into it. And as I said, I worked in a water rescue station for 12 years, so I know what the extreme outcomes can be with these type of incidents. So it's good that we can educate in the education piece.
Really pleased to see that. Thank you. On your presentation there about road traffic accidents, etc., I've got 2 wee bits here. The M74 corridor.
Yes.
Now, years ago when I sat in the committee, we claimed that Clydesdale was the drugs capital of Britain, never mind Scotland, because we're catching everybody up at Abington. And they wanted them caught in this area because they were quite strict here. They didn't want them to go over the county lines, right? And I said, but that's showing up wrong. You need to, so they actually extrapolated, like drugs, everyday use type thing would do that. But then it shows that they did say, this.
Carol, it's muted again. Carol, we can't hear.
That's the most, I know you need to report that you attended whatever, but I presume, and probably I wouldn't be wrong, that 91% of the folk that's involved, big lorries, that, I know you were living within the place, you be, if you know that.
Because it's that major.
Exactly, and we seemingly have the largest motorway stretch in Scotland, and or other places. So is there no way that can be to not to make your figures look good, because you have to report your figures, but that is, I think motorway incidents are separate from what we.
What I could do is I'll take that on board and I'll see even extract them 74 figures. So it's like if that I can't remember the numbers I was talking, but if it's 64, then maybe we had
59 in total and 14 incidents in M74.
so that could be a separate paragraph, but in March there was X amount of incidents on M74, but within the Clydesdale area it was the 45 then. So that's something I can look at and see if we can.
Probably they would be more serious than, I don't say all the times, but
if you were going to get a fatality, whatever, you probably would get it in a motorway scenario.
Because the speeds are going, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And my other point was, as we approach to be, we are a growing elderly population, and I never realised just how serious it was till I started to be involved in something. And so every year it grows and grows more 100-year-old people, 90, and the lists go right way up. So trips and falls and different stuffs, invariably going to happen. In fact, I have 3 people at the minute who are lying in hospital over the age of 70, and that's exactly what happened. And who do you actually, who's just, do you have a sort of coordinated group, you, social work, police, whatever? Although you're staying in right, so you sometimes come in and help out. But is there a sort of coordinated approach? Because it's a problem that's not actually going to go away, because as everybody goes for all year old.
If we identify somebody, we would, the terminology might not sound great, but we determine as an adult at risk.
Yeah.
And there's a form we fill in that would then go to social work and partners. And that side of things would then be taken on by social services to hopefully get in, and if there's care required or anything else we can do. Because a number of these instances where they're secondary, if somebody's fallen, that they would phone the ambulance, and quite rightly so, but there is times where the ambulance will require our assistance to maybe get the door open or gain entry, whether that be through a window or whatever else, and we will go and assist. But if we arrive there before the ambulance service, we will try and make entry, we will try and help as best we can until an ambulance can get there. And then we've got report mechanisms. Barry will probably be able to get into this before he drop you in it, but we would fill in this form, and there is that communication with social services. The biggest issue might be is actually these people being identified to us, if you know what I mean, because obviously we don't have these numbers to hand. It's what we can't call houses to check on who's there, but if we do become aware, we'll do everything we can to highlight them to our agencies to see if there is any help that can be provided.
It's just the nature of it as well. The fire service get in a lot of places where normally people don't get into. So whether it be through flooding or through any domestic incident at all, the fire service need to get in. But we can also do within that what we call a fire safety visit that we'll carry out. And even a post domestic incident response, there's a certain element of risk recognition as well. So if we can go into someone's house and we can see a trip hazard within the house, maybe the carpet's turned up or a kind of threshold going in through a door, is that form part of the referral process as well. So we would refer that through the social services, and then the social services would go out, they'd carry out their assessment, and then it would kind of take it from there to try and actually do the proactive work before anything like that would actually happen. So there is that referral pathway there. Just equally for the adult protection, we've also got the child protection as well. So they tie in really together. But the referral pathway is there, and it's active daily.
Thanks. Oh, that Karen Repair do a lot around the slips and trips as well. It takes the race in London, so we're on the ball of that. It's saying they have a question.
No.
What's that?
Excellent report, the detailed report as well about the different issues. Something I asked about, I don't know if I had a notification for consultation for Douglas Fire Station. Do you have much of an update about that in terms of what's happening?
The honest truth is at this point I don't have an update for you, and that's not, I genuinely don't have an update. What was the Douglas involved consultation itself?
Yeah, there was Douglas in another fire station, but the letter didn't have much detail on actually what's happening. So it was up to me.
That's under the current service delivery review that's ongoing just now. I believe there's meetings within the next week or two on what decisions are going to be made, and then we're waiting on the information coming out to us as well before then. That's where we're sitting at the moment. That's not in time.
The announcement's scheduled for the 22nd of June.
Right. Just because it is a lot of battery storage things being built and different associated things being built alongside the wind turbines, and I do know that the fire service is not a consultee for the build that seems to be planning. It is an issue that comes up a lot for people, and people do have concerns about battery storage and on fire at different times. I do know there's no chance of them, but people still have concerns, so that's the issue that does come up, and I know that people are concerned about it. So I'll feedback, and I can rewrite to find out what's happening. But I don't know it's an issue.
You can get my details, and if I can find out anybody, I'm more than happy to try and find out if I can and let you know as soon as I'm linking.
Just the one that's opened up, is it the biggest? but the kind of larger sites just opened up. All the neighbouring stations have run down and done finalisation visits running the station, running the sites. So that is actively going on in the background that we are included for the operational intelligence side of it. So once they're actually up and running, we can build as much information we can, and as I said, it goes on the tablet and then it's fed back to operation crews.
Do you mean the battery store itself?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one on the old Kyle Road, yeah, so,
Is that Coburn North?
I think it is, yeah. It's just when you come from Lisbon, but officially it's called Coburn North. And there's another one being built just opposite it. So it's something that comes up, so.
Thanks very much.
Chair, can,
Sorry.
well, I was going to ask about the battery electric storage because they're proliferating. I just wondered if you did have concerns. We would like to see fire and rescue as a planning consultee, but we've probably gone past that. There's that many been given consent. But if you can keep us updated on any concerns, maybe a fire will never happen, but we are concerned where they're given consent very close to residential homes, which is what happens. The other thing I was going to, and thanks for reporting that, any further issues over the parking on pavement regulations? I mean, I know that an ambulance was blocked. I think it was a week ago today. Is it something that comes up, or?
To be fair, it's not come up it's not been brought to my attention a great deal, but I stay in Glasgow, and when I see some of the streets up there, I look at them and go, a fire appliance isn't getting through this street at times now, because people are parking on the roads as they're supposed to, but if some of them don't, there's so many streets that we've got weren't designed for the volume of traffic we've got there, unfortunately. And it's something I'll keep an eye on, and I'll speak to the station just to see if any issues do arise, and I'll get them highlighted. But as of yet, nothing's been brought to my attention. But it probably will happen at some point, I would think, because of obviously the nature of the roads that we've got.
I know you've offered to leave, but if there do seem to be a problem in any particular area. So unfortunately, the one the one that was reported to me had been there. I know there were other parking spaces, but you never know who was the person who actually blocked the road to ambulance size vehicles. No, thank you. That's good. Thank you.
Seeing the hands up. So thanks very much for your report. You can now leave if you wish. It's going to be a long meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, of course.
Thanks very much.
If anybody does have any other questions, I'm more than happy to get in touch with you. I'm the station commander for the station anyway, so
All right.
if anybody wishes, not a problem.
You should see. What more can we speak?
No, I can always.
Thank you. So we'll move on to item 4, the community impacts of Lanarkshire Leisure and Cultural, pages 11 to 12, and I'm going to invite Alison Brown, Head of Enterprise and Sustainable Development, Community and Enterprise Resources, to speak to the report. Thanks, Alison.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon. Just a brief overview from myself before I hand over to the South Lanarkshire Leisure and Culture team. Essentially, this paper in front of you is the first area-focused impact presentation by SLLC. And you may remember at the Exec Committee back in December last year, we spoke about performance frameworks and how we best align those to the commissioning plan. And we've agreed to bring an annual report to Community and Enterprise Resources Committee each November, December. However, in that interim period, we bring an area focus presentation to each of the area committees. So myself and the SLLC team are on a bit of a tour at the moment, and we were in Rutherglen Cambuslang last week, and today we're bringing your presentation, which essentially will look at the key stats within the Clydesdale area in respect of South Lanarkshire Leisure and Culture facilities, emerging trends, and also a look ahead to activities going forward. So with that, I'll just hand over to Gillian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Hi everyone, good afternoon. So I'm Gillian Simpson. I am the Head of Strategy and Governance within SLLC. We have Martin Cryans, who's the Head of Business Development, and Laura may not be familiar with Laura, and I'm the manager for the Clydesdale area. So between the three of us, we're just going to cover the presentation slides. As Alison outlined here, the presentation is intended to give an overview of the work of South Lanarkshire Leisure and Culture within the Clydesdale area, and that's across a range of initiatives, events, activities and programmes that we are involved in. And the purpose is to provide you as local elected members with a snapshot of the real impact that South Lanarkshire Leisure has within your local communities, and also how that aligns with how SLLC's impact aligns with the council's wider strategic aims and priorities. As Alison said, our intention is to come once a year to present to you, to give an overview of some of the key achievements that we've achieved, and also where it's required to highlight some challenges that we might be facing within your local areas. And this will provide some contextual information in advance of the annual report, which will come forward later in the year. Next slide, please. Thanks. So this slide just gives a sort of overview of the strategic priorities and how SLSC's strategy really aligns with the council plan. And as we develop the new council plan going forward, we'll also be developing your new strategy to continue to align with our council as a key partner in that. Everything we do within South Lanarkshire Leisure and Culture is aligned to 4 key objectives, those being health and wellbeing, connected and engaged, equality and inclusion, and organisational sustainability. So what we'll do through the presentation is break that down and give you real examples of how we're delivering against each of those strategic priorities. We deliver on our priorities through early intervention, targeted programmes, community outreach, and by creating inclusive, welcoming spaces for everyone. And with that, I'll hand over to Martin. Thank you.
Thanks, Gillian. Good afternoon. A big part of our success comes from strong local partnerships. Here in Clydesdale, we work closely with health services, schools, community groups and other partners to deliver joined-up services that meet local needs. These partnerships allow us to extend our reach, target needs more effectively, and ensure a more coordinated approach to supporting communities across Clydesdale. One example is our partnership with NHS rural GP practices, enabling greater reach to our residents. To give you scale in Clydesdale, last year we've seen over 510,000 leisure visits split between wet side and dry side activity, over 120,000 library visits, nearly 3,700 events delivered in our community halls, with more than 73,000 attendees, and strong usage of Lanark Memorial Hall and our golf facilities. Recently, following a successful grant application to the Scottish Government, we delivered the Future Pathways project in Clydesdale, which saw school children benefit from an entrepreneurial education experience at the Memorial Hall. There's also been facility upgrades across Carluke. The take-up of our Active Age membership for the over 60s continues to increase, and this slide shows the breadth of the engagement from physical activity to culture and community events, all contributing to greater well-being and connection. Over the next 4 slides, we draw out examples of programmes and activities which align to the 4 strategic objectives of SLLC. Firstly, we'd like to share with you 2 examples of programmes which are delivered across the area which support local people to improve their physical and mental well-being. The Active Schools scheme in South Lanarkshire aims to promote more and higher quality opportunities to participate in sport within schools and strengthen partnerships with clubs and other community organisations to support pathways for pupils to continue their participation in sport with school. The Active Schools team work with 1,300 volunteers annually to deliver extracurricular sport and physical activity programmes across all learning communities in South Lanarkshire. A programme funded by National Agency for Sport Scotland, it's designed to encourage children and young people to get and to stay active. Across Clydesdale, 45% of pupils are engaged in extracurricular activity, and nearly 4,500 sessions are delivered annually, with nearly 96% supported by volunteers. It's worth noting at this point that this is the 20th year of the Active Schools programme. In partnership with NHS Lanarkshire, SLLC's physical activity prescription is a referral pathway. It enables GPs, practice nurses, physiotherapists and wider allied health professionals to refer patients who would benefit from being more physically active. The benefits can be both physical and psychological. Some key highlights here include over 500 referrals into our physical activity prescription programme and a strong focus on reaching those in the more deprived areas, with 61% of referrals from SRND 1 and 2 areas. We have engagement from 78% of GP practices in the previous year, and SLC and our NHS partners will continue to develop this pathway further to achieve improving health outcomes and reduce health inequalities for South Lanarkshire residents. Programmes like Access Schools and our Physical Activity Prescription Initiative are helping people build healthier lifestyles across South Lanarkshire. Next is Connected and Engaged. Our learning and development programmes delivered across the local authority in partnership with CLV partners has been a huge success. Last year, we delivered 179 learning programmes with over 6,200 visits for residents aged 5 to 59. Examples in Clydesdale include our newly qualified Teachers Training Academy, health improvement training for the local community, as well as qualifications delivered in partnership with the SFA and Badminton Scotland to upskill volunteers and coaches. We also deliver a training programme called Sidekicks for pupils in primary schools to develop their leadership skills. Our libraries and digital services are also key to how we enable our communities to connect, with over 680,000 physical library visits and 800,000 virtual visits recorded last year across South Lanarkshire. Also, the installation of Wi-Fi in Biggar, Blackwood, Carluke, Forth and Leslie Hagle libraries has been hugely welcomed. Across South Lanarkshire, we recorded 713,000 Wi-Fi sessions, and those have been a growing use of our app to areas to access our services, with 30,000 downloads of the app and around 12,000 unique users. So this is about more than access, it's about reducing isolation, building skills and creating opportunities for people to engage both physically and digitally. Thank you, and with that, I'll hand it over.
Thanks, Martin. Perfect, thank you. I'm going to give a brief update on our inclusion work and a wee bit on our sustainability focus as well. I think obviously the stats and the case studies do bring our strategic objectives to life, and you can really see the community impact of those. So our inclusion work ensures services reach those who need them most. For example, through our inclusion swimming programmes across the Clydesdale area. As you can see from the slide presented, we've delivered over 1,000 one-to-one lessons with ongoing weekly support for children living with disabilities, which are delivered by our well-trained workforce. In addition to this, we've also supported some outreach work with our qualified teachers supporting Victoria Park School in Carluke in delivering both hydrotherapy sessions and our Learn to Swim programme. These efforts build both individual confidence and community capacity. We continue with our targeted interventions through our volunteer network as well. Our volunteers include teachers, secondary school pupils, wider school staff, local club and community members. In addition to this, SLLC hosts 80 student placements throughout our service level agreements with the University of Western Scotland, New College Lanarkshire and the City of Glasgow College. All students participate in inclusion training, which allows them to provide free sessions across our communities to children and young people who may not get the opportunity to access clubs in the local community. Within Clydesdale, a number of our students have supported the delivery of the very first Disability Inclusion Festival, enabling rural schools and pupils to attend the event as previously they couldn't attend due to transport challenges. Moving on to our organisational sustainability objective. Again, this is about developing a business model that allows sustainable provision of quality services in priority areas. Sustainability is key to our long-term success, and we're invested in developing the future of our workforce, and indeed our volunteer programme is one of the best in the country. The Communities and Education team hosts volunteers across all services: sport and physical activity, arts, libraries, museums and our outdoor learning and adventure service. A cross-service volunteer working group is well established to share best practice in recruitment, training, upskilling and developing the volunteers working across our programmes. As you can see from the slide presented, we've got over 1,200 volunteers currently supporting delivery across South Lanarkshire. 216 of those volunteers are supporting locally in Clydesdale, and I'm sure you'll all be familiar with our events like Clydesdale Cup and our track and field event and our cross country. These events wouldn't happen without the support of our volunteers. Our students currently have given over 420 hours of volunteer work, and as you can see, that's valued just under £7,000, creating real added value to our delivery across Clydesdale and indeed the wider South Lanarkshire area. This initiative provides so many benefits. Our volunteers gain personal, social and career benefits. Many of our staff start as volunteers and progress to full-time positions in various roles across the organisation. And it helps us, obviously, to deliver more programmes and activities for our communities. Another key focus I'll just touch on of our sustainability thematic is to ensure our facilities are sustainable for the future. And a real highlight over the past year is the investment from South Lanarkshire Council to transform our estate. Invested in facilities locally, we have seen improvements in this building here today, Land Memorial Hall. Phase 1 of this work included improving our digital media and improving the security of the building. And Phase 2 is scheduled to start this summer, which will enhance our internal decoration as well as the replacement of our house lights. So we'll have a period of closure over the summer months. We've also invested in improving our gyms and our fitness studios. This £2.74 million investment programme is now complete within the Clydesdale leisure site, and that's included remodelling of our gyms with state-of-the-art fitness equipment, which includes more accessible equipment as well. So we've introduced some hard equipment as well, making sure that our facility is more accessible, as well as upgrades to our lighting, our media and our sound within our fitness studios too. Covan Leisure Centre just reopened at the turn of the year after upgrading the tiling and shower areas within the wet side area, and we've targeted some essential upgrades and maintenance within the pool plant area of that facility as well. And also important to mention the essential maintenance work to over the construction of Lanark Library, which is obviously reopened and being well received by the community. In partnership with South Lanarkshire Council, we were also successful in attracting SFA funding to upgrade the synthetic pitch at John Cummings Stadium, and that's now fully open. And again, we'll receive with the local clubs. And additionally, we've recently made Wi-Fi improvements across the estate, and this work is still ongoing in a rolling programme across the leisure sites. By modernising these facilities and ensuring they're accessible and future ready, we're helping more people across South Lanarkshire lead active and healthier lives. Thank you. Looking ahead, what's coming up in Clydesdale then? We have, as I mentioned earlier, Phase 2 of Lanark Memorial Hall, the transformation works. Our Summer of Sport initiatives with Scottish Government funding. We will deliver a range of sport activities across our communities, ranging from football to water sports. All three are subsidised for residents of South Lanarkshire. Our digital transformation work continues, and as part of our front of house system modernisation, we'll see improvements to how customers engage with their services. Upgrades will include speak gates and improvements to our customer journey experience. We're also excited about the development of our cultural strategy, 900k of investment again from South Lanarkshire Council, and we will support the development of our cultural strategy as well as the delivery of cultural activities and community grants. Again, the commitment from South Lanarkshire Council to support free recreational swimming across our pools has been well received by our young people. We have seen a 10% increase in attendances from under 16s and a 27% increase from non-swimming licence members at the pools across South Lanarkshire. This continued work and events and interventions further strengthen our community engagement and participation. Thank you.
And there's the lovely faces.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to say for that big slide, that's the pieces you see in the presentation of the heads of service, and we're happy to answer any questions at any time that anyone may have. And just thank you for the opportunity for us to come along today. We have some really passionate people who work for South Lanarkshire Leisure and Culture, and we really take pride in the activities and events that we deliver. So it's a pleasure to be able to share those with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the presentation. And thanks, Alison, for your open comments and report. So does anyone have any questions, comments? Yeah, Larry?
I take my ticket every year, and I feel loads of people who complain about the price, and they just say, well, multiply that day, and if you come, that's the amount. You've got the bookies, you've got the pub, you've got the cost of coffee, and then, I think it's really well worth the money. And I swim every day, and I use it. And I have to say that any South Lanarkshire facility that I've been in, Clydesdale the one I know the most because that's where I obviously attend. Everywhere's nice, and all the staff's nice, and they're very friendly. But the thing that you learn when you start to go, you become friends with people that you know, no friends, but you meet them in the street or whatever, and it becomes. And when I wasn't very well, there's people phoning because they had to see me, that type of thing. But it's one woman is telling me, and a man, but it gives them a reason every day to get up and come out at 8:30 in the morning for the swimming, spend I think the whole day going from club to that, to that, to that. So sometimes don't look at that, the inclusion thing, and the fact is that, like, psychologically, it's good. The water, aqua aerobics, and others. I don't know for that, but I mean, it's got loads and loads of people, and they're all friends, and you can see that. So I think I can only ask you to go back to everybody, not just the ones that handle this hall, everybody. The staff are really, really good, and I have not had a bad experience. I've been Blantyre, Hamilton, it used to go to Cove years ago. It was excellent, and as I say, my main statement is look, sometimes man, but never great sale under the end everywhere, but excellent. But it's the part that's behind it. I always say about the free swimming, there's no swimming because is that a social and they want to jump in my head, but they enjoy it.
I would just like to say I'm also an active member of the swimming pool for swimming every day as well. And I think the transformational fund that the administration that made available to South Lanarkshire Leisure has been really transformational. I mean, the differences to the gyms in Lanark and Forth, that's my area, it's tremendous, and everybody's really enjoying all the new equipment, and it just looks so much better and more professional. The library, you mentioned the library, I mean, it's looking really fantastic, just to get it wind and watertight again, but it's a lovely building, so I'm really pleased with that as well. And when I go swimming in the morning, I go early in the morning, I was a late person, I'm in there at 6:30, but you see the swimming club there, and I mean, one of the girls there, Amy Mackey, she's now got to be swimming the Commonwealth Games. I mean, that is some achievement for a wee swimming, well, not a wee swimming pool, I love the big swimming pool, I suppose, for some areas, but just to have that in your local town is fantastic, and I'm really world champion Amy in that one, so no, I just can't thank you enough for what you provide in our area. I think it's great. Somebody else, including the libraries, I forgot that the library, Hamilton libraries too, they're all lovely people, everybody's lovely.
I think that's what we do, you know, that's different from the kind of private sector. I think it is that kind of real community-based, you know, facilities. So whilst it's a place for health and being, it's also a place for social inclusion. And I think, you know, definitely some of the kind of feedback that we got through those kind of temporary closures when we reopened, it's great to be back because you were seeing the familiar faces again. So I think that's a real added value with our community-based facilities, and certainly the staff will certainly appreciate that. So thank you.
I think one of the things that I notice is there's a lot in men, you know, they don't have much else in the town, to be honest, so they're going to the steam room, they're going swimming, and it's a wee club for them, then there is a wee coffee and after it, and it's something for them to go every day, and they almost remember saying to a friend when I worked for the council, if you're looking for somebody, if you're looking for a man, well, it's steam room at home. And I know about your active skills and how important they are as well. It's good that that's still going on, and I've got the dance things that they hold in here as well. So it's really good. I can't thank you enough for what you do.
Yes, please, Chair. Thanks, Chair. Thanks for those reports. Did mention inclusion, etc. Now, over the period, Leisure Trust, Clydesdale East closed 8 village halls and pulled funding from another 5 community managed halls. Now, as it happened, you know, they just retired as a leader. Joe Fagan helped us save most of those halls, but it means volunteer run, and it's an absolute, I mean, it's a massive responsibility for them to keep these halls going. And what I would say on inclusion, it was the more remote, the more deprived communities that lost their halls. And the well-resourced communities carried on great, they were okay. So the other thing is there any way that Leisure Trust can come back and help some of these struggling local communities that lost their halls? And I realise it's people long gone who made those decisions, not themselves.
I think it's probably important to say here that the way we deliver our services doesn't necessarily need to be fixed assets. There's lots of other ways we can reach out to communities as well. And we can certainly look at how we do that in terms of different delivery models.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's any kind of particular community groups, then certainly, you know, we can, there's a number of examples where we do some outreach work as well. And certainly, you know, the library services, they have piloted a kind of mobile library, you know, the initiative, but it was about a year or so back. So if there are kind of groups that's looking for support and looking for access, then certainly, you know, we can share our contacts and make sure that we get in touch with them.
We're also exploring remote access, which we have rurality aspect to that, so that sort of takes into accountability with those communities.
Okay, thanks.
I don't see any wish.
I was going to ask, yeah, basically on the upgrades to Kirby back with Community Wing and Global Leisure Centre have been very welcomed by people in the community. We're really happy that the money's went in and those changes happened, particularly for I think it was the change in movement from Global Leisure Centre and the tiling as well.
Yeah.
It's been something that's came to me for quite a while, so really happy that has happened. I was just going to ask about mobile libraries actually. I know there's a few people in ongoing conversations in Coburn. I think Brookside as well about mobile banking hubs coming to those places because they don't have don't have any banking services or post office either. I just wondered if there was any plans or anyone thinking about mobile libraries and how mobile libraries could work with mobile banking hubs. Or, I'm using the wrong word, but you know when the banks moved with the rural communities in the small bands, forget the name. Maybe they call mobile banking hubs. Maybe that is the right word. I think that's probably quite a good, interesting thing to look at in rural areas.
So maybe not so much the mobile banking hubs, but we've been piloting a couple of these within communities. So we actually have mostly a cash hub here that comes in on a daily monthly basis. So there's access here. There's one that we've just we're piloting as well for a year's contract over at Stonehouse.
Yeah.
And there's another one over There's also one in Lanark Lifestyles, so it alternates between these two facilities.
Yeah.
So these cash hubs are popping up more and more. And obviously when talks, we'll see how the line goes in Stonehouse, and then we could look at access and utilising space in some of the other facilities as well.
Yeah.
I think they need a base rather than a vehicle. I think they actually need that kind of space to do that. But certainly these are coming up more and more.
Do we have much of a mobile library service in Scotland? Because to my knowledge, I don't know much about it. Yeah. It's interesting.
I like to see that we might want to took the straight before it reaches out a little bit back.
Yeah. I think,
Temporary, just vehicle issues just now.
Right.
See any other hands up? So thank you very much for your presentations. So you wish you can leave.
Thank you very much.
Save to yourself, Alison, thank you. I know you were busy. So, thank you. So we'll move to the item 5, which is the Magistrate's Inspector of Education and Scotland report for Lanark Grammar School. That's August 13 to 20. I'm going to invite you, Glenn, the lead officer, and Jane Warren, the head teacher, to speak to you.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, councillors. My name is Ian Fleming. I'm the Quality Link Officer for Lanark Grammar School. I'm pleased to be here today with very proud head teacher, Jeff Warden, who's been head teacher now at Lanark Grammar for 4.5 years. The purpose of this report is to advise of the outcome of the inspection of Lanark Grammar School by Education Scotland inspectors. In January this year, Lanark Grammar School was the focus of a full model inspection by the Magistrates Inspectors. And paragraph 4.1 of the committee report takes us through the areas of the school's work that were evaluated using Scottish Education's National Quality Framework. How good is our school? Fourth edition. Those areas that were evaluated were leadership change, learning, teaching and assessment, ensuring wellbeing, equality and inclusion, raising attainment and achievement. Lanark Grammar School is situated in the centre of Lanark, and it includes Greyhead, Carmichael, Carstairs, Stairs Junction, Douglas, Kirkfield Bank, Lanark Primary, New Lanark, Rigside, Robert Owen Memorial and Underbank Primaries as its catchment. The school was newly built in 2011 as part of the SLC Schools Modernisation Programme, and at the time of inspection, the school roll was about 1,100 pupils across S1 to S6, including nearly 1,000 pupils within the mainstream and about 105 pupils in fully supported ASM placements within the ASM base. During the 5 days in the schools, inspectors observed learning in the school. They spoke with groups of pupils and groups of staff. They met with parents, carers and members of the local community. The inspection report for Lanark Grammar School was published on Tuesday, 17th of March 2026. Mr. Warden's point. Inspectors evaluated the school's leadership of change as good. Learning, teaching and assessment provision in the school was evaluated as good. For ensuring wellbeing, inclusion and equality, the school was evaluated as good, and their outcome on raising attainment and achievement were evaluated as satisfactory. It's important to highlight that an evaluation of satisfactory within the how good is our school framework means that the strengths outweigh the weaknesses, and HMIE use satisfactory to represent a standard where the strengths have a positive impact on learners' experiences. It's a kind of definition of that. Paragraph 4.2 within the report highlights the key strengths of the school, as noted in the report. In summary, these are strong and compassionate leadership, which has created a culture of nurture and respect across the school. Confident and polite young people who act as positive ambassadors for the school. Strong staff knowledge of learners, supporting positive engagement and clarity around next steps. Highly effective partnership working, which supports wellbeing, achievement and positive post-school destinations. And then the ASM provision is very well led by senior and middle leaders. They effectively lead a motivated staff team who take a balanced approach towards the wellbeing, achievement and attainment of young people. In paragraph 4.3, that references areas for improvement, which have been included in the school's improvement plan for next session. These are not necessarily new, but provide clear endorsement for inspectors to further develop high quality learning, teaching and assessment with a focus on pace and challenge. Continue to review the curriculum to ensure it fully meets the needs and entitlement of all young people. Continue to develop whole school approaches to inclusion, including monitoring the impact of interventions, and continue to raise attainment for all young people, particularly in S4. As outlined in paragraph 4.5, Inspector confident that Lanark Grammar School has the capacity to continue to improve and will therefore make no return visits in connection with this report. I'm now going to hand over to Jeff Warden, who will share a few of his highlights from the report.
Thank you, Ian. Good afternoon, Chair and councillors. Firstly, I'd like to thank my teacher for allowing me to quickly nip out to the toilet. You see that I did dawdle on my return. And I said to Ian earlier that in the Lanark tradition, I did think about arriving on horseback today, but I know that they're all booked out. So happy Landers when it comes to everybody, absolutely. So I know that you all as local representatives appreciate how vital schools are to the fabric, identity and future of communities across South Lanarkshire, especially here in Clydesdale, where nearly everybody in the town and surrounding villages seem to have some experience or connection to the one local high school. I'm delighted to be able to share with you the outcomes and some of my own reflections from the visit earlier this year from His Majesty's Inspectorate for Education to Lanark Grammar School. First and foremost, the feedback that made me the most proud as a head teacher was in our report and through feedback sessions, the inspection team explicitly noted how incredibly impressed they were by the openness, honesty, warmth, and high level of collaboration across our entire school community. They highlighted that this genuine supportive atmosphere is something that they do not experience everywhere they go, and that it was a huge source of pride. This should be a huge source of pride for me and my team. We very much embraced the inspection experience and gave the best warmth of welcome to them that we could. And this kind of school environment doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of a dedicated staff, an active and very supportive parent council, a collaborative learning community of primary schools and their excellent head teachers and teams, as well as fantastic local partners across education, health, and the third sector. We all work together day in and day out to positively improve the lives and future pathways of over 1,100 young people who walk through our doors. And our school motto is learning, growing, succeeding. I hope you see what we've done there with Lanark Grammar School. And the collective values which underpin our work are achievement, community, endeavor, enthusiasm, equality, and respect. I believe that we are nurturing young people to embody these values. One of my deputies, she helpfully described the inspection experience well when she compared it to baking a cake. The inspection team, she said, could arrive at any point, even before we had bought or mixed the ingredients. And for us, in our experience, they arrived when we felt our cake was in the oven. They told us that it smells fantastic and all the signs point to it tasting great, but there's just a little bit more cooking time required before we'll be able to decorate and eat it. Ian's already shared the formal evaluations, and these judgments were warmly received by us because they reflect our own robust self-evaluation of where we think our whole school improvement work currently sits. So, as Ian had said, first and foremost, our young people shone brightly. The inspectors found our pupils to be exceptionally kind, polite, articulate, and confident ambassadors who truly live our school values. And whether it's leading anti-bullying pupil task forces, thriving in our high-profile Duke of Edinburgh award program, or volunteering as school ambassadors for mentors in violence prevention programs, our students demonstrate outstanding leadership and cooperation. The report also commends our teachers and support staff for maintaining calm, purposeful learning environments. Relationships across the school are warm and productive, and our co-designed LGS lesson framework has introduced excellent, clear consistency to our classrooms. And our school context is unique, and it's something I'm really proud of this aspect, in that we have a very bespoke additional support needs-based provision, which is inextricably entwined with our mainstream, or what we call at LGS our wider school. And this serves this year nearly 110 young people from across Clydesdale. And my words for the work that they do simply wouldn't do it justice. It received immense praise from the inspectors, where they highlighted it as an overwhelmingly caring, responsive, and well-led team, noting how beautifully and uniquely integrated this complex provision is within our mainstream school environment. We have pupils with mild learning needs for whom support in the base will allow them to access the wider school provision. We also have pupils with severe and complex needs who, even with huge barriers to traditional communication and some with significant health issues, are extremely well served with a bespoke education package delivered with great care and encouragement. The strategic leadership of our allocation of pupil equity fund was recognized as a major strength in mitigating the costs of the school day for our families. And because of these targeted nurturing approaches, I'm pleased to report that our school attendance rates are showing a steady, continuous improvement over recent sessions, while our exclusion rates have fallen. And I know that attendance is a local authority priority just now and will continue to feature in our own school improvement plan over the next 3 years. And as Ian said, in our fourth evaluation area, raising attainment and achievement, the school received a judgment of satisfactory. And just to frame what this means for our school and how we move forward, as was said, an evaluation of satisfactory indicates a secure standard where our strengths clearly outweigh our weaknesses. So to me, it demonstrated that our foundations are solid, our practices are effective, and our pupils are well served. And importantly, it gives us a very secure jumping off point for going forward with plans to enhance and enrich the attainment and achievement portfolios for all of our pupils, and especially for those at their point of exit. The inspection team expressed absolute confidence in our self-evaluation and our capacity for continuous improvement. And this was perhaps the statement that made me the most proud when sharing the inspection feedback with our wider school staff. They do not have to make a return visit, and they believe that we are on the right track, doing right by our pupils. So it makes for an exciting time post-inspection, where we now know exactly where our areas for growth sit, and we haven't been complacent. We've already started working on them. Our strategic priorities will in time turn good into excellent. I am sure of this. I don't know if I'll be around for the next inspection, but I'd like to see it through. 3 of these priorities for your interest are targeted attainment. So we're actively focusing on raising the attainment of all young people, and especially improving the quantity and quality of passes at level 5, or perhaps if you're more familiar with previous systems, would have been intermediate 2, and before that, standard grade credit. We're using data across our staff to help accelerate progress for our learners with the lowest attainment profiles as well. Universal inclusion is another priority, and we're expanding our whole school inclusive practices to strengthen universal supports in the classroom, building upon tried and tested frameworks and tools like you may have heard of the CIRCLE framework. And also robust tracking. We're trying to bring the excellent robust tracking and data monitoring practices that we already utilize in the senior phase into our lower school in the BGE over S1 to S3 to ensure that pupils aren't having a plateau in their progress. So in conclusion, inspection is a rigorous process, but it's reinforced what I and my team felt we already knew, that Lanark Grammar School is a strong, resilient, and deeply compassionate learning community. One of the managing inspectors remarked to me at the end of the week, he said there are many head teachers who would consider themselves incredibly lucky to have the staff, the young people, and the community spirit that we have. We have a secure foundation, a committed team, and a clear roadmap. And as local leaders, we greatly appreciate what you do with your advocacy and support of our work. And we hopefully will keep learning, growing, and succeeding together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll be back just to add, just at the end, if that's okay. Sorry, just it's positive HMIE report from us. We're very pleased with that education resources within the community, and that includes our executive director, who is delighted. Committee is therefore asked to approve the following recommendation to note the HMIE report on Lanark Grammar School. And thank you very much for listening to us. We welcome any questions or comments.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Eileen?
Thank you. Thanks very much, and thanks very much for talking us through the report. I have to tell you that there's 14 of us in the room that comes from I don't know 11 was wondering what the flags were showing. And I live in Kilwick, so obviously I know Kilwick High School, but I don't necessarily know everything about, Lanark Grammar. But I'm interested in the additional support needs section. How many pupils have you got at that and there?
Approximately, well, it's 105 to 110.
It's still.
It is, it's significant, yeah.
Always good reports from people that I know that the children attend. And the other point, I didn't realise, I probably did never gave a thought, just how wide the catchment is for the school. So
That's a lot less, doesn't it?
yeah, it's sort of like, you know, your own area, Kirk's got, you know, Law, Braidwood, you know, Kirk, Christopher Diet, that's up to you.
Yeah.
Enforced, so it's quite contained. Do you find that causes you any? No, I don't mean trouble with a capital T, but bringing, that's a lot of diverse, big schools, wee schools, schools with half a dozen, you know, that type of thing.
Absolutely.
I suppose year one to get everybody all in the place might be quite a challenge.
It is a huge challenge. Yes. We love our wide geographical catchment, and love our trips out to Rigside and Douglas as well, which you'll hear from shortly. But yeah, very, very different profiles from across the different primary schools. I would say in terms of troubles, the biggest challenge for us really is around when we're talking about transport and activities and such. So when there are things we want to run after school, for example, that's a huge challenge because we have people that need to get away. We have run trips to Edinburgh, but it's got to get back to make sure that people can get their transport back. You know, so some things are maybe cut short of it. The biggest challenge would be certainly finance for transport, if I may say that.
Ralph, for you, bounce back forward.
Yeah.
You're bigger eye.
Well, thanks for those really good reports. Thanks. And the way you put it, Jeff, as well. And just, you know, like to ask, you know, on the downside, I'm not going to be negative as a World Leisure Trust. I have placements at bigger from Lanark catchment. It gives me odd problems with getting places on school buses. But their the parents' excuses, if you like, is bullying at Lanark, which I find hard to believe anyway. As it happens, my granddaughter attends Lanark and she says, you know, she doesn't see any problem at all about Lanark. I mean, she is actually doing very, very well at Lanark. But I mean, I find it hard to believe, you know, that these placements aren't just for the benefit of parents rather than pupils at times. I don't know. Are the reverse placements, do you know?
We indeed, but first just address your point, and please, you know, I would say pass on to, I'm really sorry to hear that, if that's been the experience of anybody. We do, you know, it would be ridiculous to say we have no bullying. Of course, we experience, you know, bullying behaviors like every school, but we're very proactive in our efforts to combat it. And one of the things I was mentioning about actually over the past year was just pupil-led, people-focused task force to address bullying and how people can report it, you know, in a more safe way, I suppose, you know, because there's pupils who wouldn't come forward perhaps because they're, you know, fearful of what might happen from coming forward, and we're trying to create more avenues for them to share their experience so we can address it directly. We do experience a multitude of placement requests from other schools. I won't name and shame, but we do have a lot of, for various reasons, people's going to and from all across Clydesdale, the different schools. So we welcome all.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. Thanks.
Yes. You're welcome. Thank you.
I would just like to say that since I've known you, Jeff, I didn't realise it's 4.5 years. It doesn't seem that long. You were like a breath of fresh air coming in, to be honest. Any disrespect to the previous head teacher, but your commitment to the community as well, and what you've done there to try and integrate within the community has been really good. And I'd like to pass on my best wishes for you and your staff, and to get this report's absolutely fantastic and satisfactory came through the way you've explained it. So that's really good to get that explanation. See anything else with the, oh no, sorry, Julia. Okay, just don't know, Richard. No. Julia, you go first, I've said you. Just tiny.
Okay, thank you. I would just like to concur with yourself, Chair, that I'm pleased to see the report and congratulations on it.
Thank you.
Richard, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
Right, good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, well done you. It's obviously a very good report. I'm delighted to hear it because my grandson has just gone there. But I've got a long distance question. I don't know, I have no idea of the numbers, but there's 300 houses going up at the barracks. There's 200 houses going up at Smileham. God knows how many houses are going up all around Lanarkshire. And I sit on the Education Appeals Board where I know that there's practically no room anywhere for anyone. And the schools are all suffering now because they are overwhelmed, if you like, by numbers. And what plans has Lanark got to cope with all these extra people coming in over the next year or three?
I'm, yeah, I would say I'd be anxious to say anything that would inhibit me getting more facilities, but no, at the moment, we're not at capacity in the school, and actually our role's slightly fallen. You wouldn't think so, but it has slightly fallen in the past year with, and I haven't seen projections that outweigh what we'll be able to contend with as of yet. And
I must admit, I asked that question, you know, the plan coming through.
yeah.
I welcome houses because I would need houses as well. David?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. As an ex-pupil of Lanark Grammar, I'm pleased to see that Jeff is looking after my old school very well, and I'm sure it will go forward to even greater success. The only thing I would say is Jeff's head teacher. In my day, you were rector. And
that's right.
I'm sure that should be brought back. That was much more official and more reverential. Thank you.
So I think we're having our final word from the Chair of Education, Nancy.
Hi, thank you very much. I thought I would just like add to everybody else in the room saying something. So just like a big congratulations, Jeff. Like obviously I see the inspection reports all the time coming through as Chair of Education, and Lanark Grammars, when I saw it coming through earlier in the year, I thought he'd done a really good job. You obviously know where the improvements are needed, and you've absolutely got a plan for that, and that's excellent. I think it's really good how much they've praised the staff and you as the head teacher in Lanark Grammar, and you should be really proud of that, and please take back for the committee how proud we are of the staff in the school as well, because it really did stand out how much the inspectors were impressed by you, so thank you very much for coming along as well.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you.
I think that's us for that report. So you're free to go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a break, because I think now my hands Spadfield will be sitting here. So if everybody would like to have a 5-minute break, and we'll come back and we'll do the next one, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't make it much.
Has a right to burn family out of their home, to burn public property at the peak. Right to be angry. I am angry. Have the right to expect their petitions to. But no has a right to burn families out of their home.
That's ready to go, and we've got Julia, Leslie and Poppy haven't on camera yet, so better just check with them there, and the surveillance. Yeah, all present and correct. Thank you very much. So we're on to item 6, which is His Majesty's Inspector of Education in Scotland and Care Inspectorate reports for Douglas Primary School, pages 21 to 26. And invite Ian Fleming, lead officer, and Suzanne Hughes, or Susie as I would call her, to speak to the report. Thanks.
So, thank you again. Good afternoon again. So I am also the Quality Link Officer for Douglas Primary School and Nursery. I'm pleased to be here today. I was very proud head teacher Suzanne Hughes, who's been head teacher now at Douglas Primary for 7 years. The purpose of this report is twofold. So firstly, it's to advise on the outcome of the inspection of Douglas Primary School by inspectors from His Majesty's Inspectorate of Education in Scotland, and also to advise on the outcome of the joint inspection of the nursery by HMIE and the Care Inspector. In the week beginning Monday 9th of February 2026, the schools focused on a full model inspection by His Majesty's Inspectors, and paragraph 4 of the committee report takes us through the areas of the school's work that were evaluated using Scottish Education's National Quality Framework. How good is our school for the mission? And these are the same as what on our grammar was, so it's the same for within primary and secondary. So it's leadership, change, learning, teaching and assessment, ensuring wellbeing, equality and inclusion, and raising attainment and achievement. At the same time, the nursery was the focus of a new joint inspection by HMIE and the Care Inspectorate that was launched in 2025. And paragraph 5 of the committee report takes us through the areas of the nursery's work that were evaluated using the new National Quality Improvement Framework for the early learning and childcare sectors, which was launched in 2025. Those areas were staff skills, knowledge, values and deployment, learning, teaching and assessment, nurturing, care and support, and children's progress. Douglas Primary School is situated in the centre of Douglas, and it includes the villages of Douglas and Gledstone and outlying areas as its catchment. The school and nursery were newly built in 2011 as part of SLC's school modernisation programme. At the time of inspection, the school rolls 114 pupils across 5 classes. There were 19 3 to 5 year olds and 5 2 to 3 year olds in the nursery. During the 5 days in the establishment, inspectors observed learning in the school and the nursery. They spoke with groups of children, spoke with groups of staff, and met with parents and members of the local community. The inspection reports for the school and nursery were published on Tuesday, 28th of April 2026. Paragraph 4.4 captures the inspection grades for the school. Inspectors evaluated the school's leadership of change as good, and for ensuring wellbeing and inclusion and equality as good. Inspectors evaluated the school's approaches to learning, teaching and assessment, and raising attainment and achievement as satisfactory. Again, I would highlight that an evaluation of satisfactory means that the strengths outweigh the weakness, and the HMIE used that to represent the standard, the strengths of a positive impact on learners' experiences. Paragraph 4.2 highlights the key strengths of the school as noted in the report. In summary, these were strong, positive relationships across the school community, with children feeling happy, settled and well cared for. Effective leadership from the head teacher, fostering collaboration and empowering staff and children to lead change. High quality outdoor learning, making excellent use of the local environment to support confidence and transferable skills. A wide range of engaging experiences that support children to be active, build confidence and develop healthy habits, with specific reference to children planning and leading clubs. Paragraph 4.3 references areas for improvement, which have been included in the school's improvement planning for next session. Again, these are not new, but they provide clear endorsement from inspectors to strengthen systems and processes to improve outcomes for children, improve the consistency and quality of learning and teaching across the school, continue to develop teachers' shared understanding of children's progress and achievement, and increase children's progress and raise attainment, particularly in literacy and numeracy. Paragraph 5.3 of the report references the evaluated grades awarded to the nursery. Inspectors evaluated staff skills, knowledge, values and deployment as good, learning, teaching, assessment as good, nurturing, care and support as very good, and children's progress as good. The key findings of the nursery inspection are noted in paragraph 5.2. In summary, children are highly motivated and making good progress across key areas including communication, numeracy and health and wellbeing. Strong, nurturing relationships support children to thrive. A positive team culture supports collaborative working and positive outcomes for children and families. Staff should continue to refine approaches for planning and monitoring of learning, and secure entry procedures should be reviewed and strengthened to ensure children remain safe. That's what's in the report. It's 1-to-1 was the kind of what they were talking about, and actually was through nothing to do with the nursery, it's the building, and that has been addressed. As outlined in paragraph 6.1, inspectors are confident that Douglas Primary School and Nursery have the capacity to continue to improve and will therefore make no return visits in connection with these reports. I'm also again now going to hand over to the head teacher, Suzanne Hughes, who will share a few of her highlights from the report.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. As you all know, I'm Suzanne Hughes and I'm the head teacher of Douglas Primary, and I'd like to thank you for inviting me along this afternoon. As head teacher of the nursery and of the primary school, I think it's really important to take a moment to reflect on the HMI visit that we had and to think about those takeaways that we should be really proud of. So first and foremost, proudest thing that I've taken from it is actually our children and young people in the school. The inspection reports clearly recognised that our children were happy, they were confident, they were caring, and they were enthusiastic learners who thrive within the nurturing environment that we provide. The inspectors highlighted the strong positive relationships across the school and the nursery, and noted that the children knew that they were cared for, they were valued, and that they were listened to. That is something very special to me, and it's something that we have worked really hard to achieve. I'm also especially proud that our children and young people are developing not only academically, but socially and emotionally too. Across both the school and nursery, inspectors recognise the confidence, the resilience, and the independence shown by our learners. They described children as highly motivated, kind towards one another, and eager to participate in learning both indoors and outdoors. As mentioned, outdoor learning was highlighted as a real strength for our school and nursery, and rightly so. Our staff make excellent use of our outdoor spaces, our forest area, and the local environment to provide meaningful learning experiences. The inspectors recognised how these experiences help our children to build confidence, teamwork, creativity, and transferable life skills. Whether the children were exploring the forest, taking part in wellbeing activities, gardening, cooking, or leading activities for others, they were developing skills that will stay with them for life. I'm also incredibly proud of the culture that we've built at Douglas Primary School and Nursery. The reports highlighted that strong team culture among staff and the collaborative ethos that exists across the whole school community. Staff were recognised for being nurturing, reflective, and committed to improving outcomes for our children and families. Inspectors commented on the care, compassion, and trauma-informed approaches that staff use every day. Importantly, inspectors recognised that our young people were given genuine opportunities to lead change within the school. Our children help to make decisions, they plan improvements, and they lead activities for their peers. This empowers them to feel that their voices matter and helps them to grow to be confident, responsible young citizens. Our nursery received a particularly strong feedback around that nurturing care and support, which was evaluated as very good. Our inspectors praised the warm and caring relationships between staff, children, and families, and highlighted how children feel secure, respected, and supported in their learning environment. Another area that I'm extremely proud of is those strong relationships we have with our families and wider community. The reports recognise the inclusive and welcoming ethos within the nursery and school, as well as the meaningful opportunities for parents and carers to engage in learning. This is through opportunities such as stay and play sessions, home learning, outdoor events, and community activities that we are continuing to strengthen and build upon these relationships. Of course, as mentioned, the inspection also identified areas for improvement, and these were areas that we already knew that needed to be improved. We are committed to strengthening the learning and teaching approaches at the school and to raising attainment further and continuing to improve outcomes for every child and young person in our care. And what gives me confidence in the report is that it clearly states that they believe that we can do that and we have the capacity to continue to improve successfully. I think most importantly, both reports reflect the dedication, resilience, and commitment of everyone involved in our school community. So not just our staff, but our families, our partners, and especially our children and young people. Douglas Primary and Nursery as a place where the children are nurtured, included, encouraged and inspired. And to me, that's something that I'm incredibly proud of.
Yeah, thank you to Suzanne. Again, it's a positive inspection report for both the school and the nursery. We're all pleased within the education community, and again, that includes our executive director. Committee is therefore asked to approve the following recommendation to note the HMIE reports for Douglas Primary School and Nursery. Again, thank you for having us, and we welcome any questions or comments.
Thank you very much, both of you. Get any questions or comments? Oh, there's Bobby.
Just a quick mention to Suzanne. Obviously well done in your achievements, but it's actually terrifying to see you again after 18 years when you were my daughter's primary school. It's really good to see. Sorry?
I said that's more terrifying for me than it's been 18 years.
I know, but you're looking really well, and it's good to see you, and I'm delighted that you're doing so well. It's good to see, so thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to congratulate you again on a brilliant report for both your primary and your nursery. And I know it's been a bit here about closing the poverty related attainment gap as well, because I think you've been quite a deprived area, probably up in Douglas and Big Side and that kind of area. So that's really nice to see that that's getting mentioned as well. But just pass on our thanks to yourselves and the teachers. Thanks for coming today. Wait a minute, so I saw there's one thing.
Just to say congratulations, and it's again a really good report, and I think that the fact that there is a very good for the nursery is absolutely excellent, especially around that nurturing stuff. So like absolutely great. Sorry, I was pretty sure that my primary one was about to walk in there, but she's not. But excellent again, and well done. And just please take it back for the committee how proud we are of the work that yous are doing in Douglas as well. Thanks.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time. So I don't know who wants to leave at this point. Sorry.
I've got what other councillors have said. Congratulations on the report. I think Douglas is a quite unique place in terms of its location, in terms of its accessibility. I do know there's a consultation on bus transport for Douglas, and trying to get some community groups are trying to get community buses from Wakeside to Douglas, and I think to Lesmahago. So as I know when I attended the parent council, that does come up, and it comes up with bus board. Options in Douglas, but I think that will impact if it does come off the ground. And with what happened in Straven with the climate action Straven group, they're trying to do something like using some wind farm funding. So I think that will help move forward for accessibility in Douglas for the community and the people who attend the school as well.
And you think what we're talking about with the transport to the grammar, you know, that's it's an expense every year to kids. So that and I'm actually one of the peoples that the school is leading the kind of the consultation in terms of transport. So it would be great if it came.
With consultations that people running all week in Douglas and Whites, which I've been telling people about to attend, because it's good that people take part in, and consultations happen a lot in the area because of all the wind turbines, right? So I encourage people to attend these consultations. The council does consultations, community councils do consultations, wind turbine developers do consultations, you even get house builders doing consultations. So there's a lot of consultations, right? So I encourage people to take part in them. So
it would be.
Yes, great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so I don't know who wants to leave at this point.
I'll wait for this education.
I think you've got a date and constantly. Item 7, education resources and participatory budget and literacy on pages 27 to 32, and I'm inviting Laura Horn, a strategic lead head teacher, and Suzanne Hughes, Susan. Again, Karen was proud to speak to them both. Thanks.
Yes, hello Chair and Councillors, thank you very much for having me today. I am here to speak about participatory budget across South Lanarkshire schools. So again, this year, this is a really well-established process. across South Lanarkshire. Again, this year we asked all of our schools to allocate a minimum of 5% of the pupil equity funding and allocate that to participatory budget, and that's where they engage with all the stakeholders. They ask what the stakeholders would like to spend the money on, and it is focused on equity and about closing that poverty-related attainment gap. So 5% was the minimum, and some schools allocate more than that, but 5% was the absolute lowest level they were allowed. And there were some training sessions given to the participating budget leads in September, just to remind them of the role and how important it was. And then they're guided throughout the year about ways how they can spend and processes, and giving good examples of what other people have done as well. And then we ask head teachers at the end to confirm their proportion of the PEP funding and let us know what they are spending it on. So in the report, you will see in the appendix all the schools who receive PEP funding and what they have done with that money. In the Clydesdale area, it's 76,788.10, and actually that is on average 6.25% of the total PEP funding. So there are some schools really using a lot of the money in there, and I think that really just shows the commitment across Clydesdale for equity and inclusion and ensuring that schools don't cost. And that's why I invited Suzanne to come along today. Douglas is a brilliant school for trying to reduce the cost of the school day. They've got a really good initiative that they've used their PEF money on, and it was an absolute joy to go down and visit her and meet the dog. I really amazed to have a dog at your school who is glorious, and it's just, I really felt the great ethos when I went to visit to speak about participatory budget. So I will ask Suzanne to explain what they do.
You brought me coffee.
Yeah, sorry.
So we, at Douglas Primary, we allocate 5% of our budget, mainly because most of our budget tends to go into that fund. So we don't tend to allocate anymore. So that percentage for us has been £1,960. I mean, sometimes we round up to the 2,000. And we follow a process every year. So the consultation process is made up of a group of pupils and staff and parents, and we come up with a range of ideas that we think would be suitable for the participatory budget. And this session we had outdoor learning equipment and resources, we had trips and events, extracurricular activities and sport activities. And I have to say, in all the years we've been doing it, we tend to think it's the same headings that come up. However, we've obviously been working very hard on our outdoor learning recently, and that was obviously noted in the HMI report. So for us, this was actually a new area that has come up this session, and in previous sessions we tended to find that the votes went to things like trips and events because it was allowing all of the children to go and experience, you know, a trip to the cinema or somewhere they maybe wouldn't necessarily get to go to. However, through the voting process this year, which we done via Parents' Night, and then we had the local community committee going out and getting the views of the local members of the community as well, the vote actually went towards spending the money on outdoor learning and the resources that we use in there. And I actually think that's really important, almost kind of like the rationale behind that is that idea of that development of skills. So at Douglas, we're very much about, yes, there's an academic side, but we're also about developing those skills for learning, work and life. And outdoor learning is the perfect avenue, I think, to go down to be able to do that. So the outdoor learning project was chosen because it provided opportunities for children to be both physical outside and also to kind of look at that kind of mental well-being. We found a real positive impact from doing outdoor learning in terms of the children's mental well-being as well. The project encouraged pupils to become more active, to work collaboratively and develop important life skills through the hands-on experiences that they were getting outdoors. And there was also a really kind of strong focus on that idea of sustainability, which one was really important, on healthy eating and developing links within the local community too. So we had hoped that this money and how we plan to spend it would lead to outcomes that would be improved health and wellbeing for the pupils, an increase in that outdoor activity for them, increased opportunities for practical experiences outside, development of gardening, teamwork and cooking skills, improved understanding of healthy eating and sustainability, and strengthened links between the schools, parents and the wider community. So really the money was being spent on equipment for the children to be outdoors, and then it was being spent on projects that we had throughout the year. So that was growing a variety of fruit and vegetables, using those things to then cook with. It was used for things like fire lighting materials, so the children were actually cooking on an open fire. So a big development of skills there. And in terms of the measures, what we were looking to measure was looking at the project and evaluating through the pupil feedback and staff observations and participation in outdoor learning, the positive impact that would have. And we were looking for evidence that was photographs, examples of pupil work, that kind of increased engagement and pupil activity as well. And also our involvement in some community events that linked to outdoor learning too. We wanted to also try and involve the parents more. The parents voted towards the money going towards this outdoor learning project. So we invited them to some showcase events where we were able to highlight the work we were doing in outdoor learning, and also for them to be our guinea pigs to try some of the things that we had made. And the children prepared all the meals and cooked for them as well. And also it was kind of strengthening that idea. We had some workshops where the parents come in and cooked with the children. So it was that idea of them preparing food together and preparing meals together and promoting that idea of kind of healthy eating. So the project has a really positive impact on the pupils and the wider school community. The children have developed confidence in teamwork and practical skills like planting and growing and caring for the fruit and vegetables. The outdoor learning opportunities have improved the health and well-being by encouraging that kind of active learning and that time spent outdoors. The pupils have gained really valuable cooking skills by preparing dishes and producing them, and the fact that they have grown themselves. The children's enthusiasm to try them and eat them was something that I've never seen before. Like, you often offer them vegetables or salad or fruit in the lunch hall, and it's like, no thanks. But the fact that they had grown them and then they were making the meals, the children were actually really enjoying trying something new. So it was lovely to see. It strengthened our community links, especially with the annual Douglas Flower Show that takes place every year. So we were able to put some of the produce that we had grown into the show, and we won some prizes, which was amazing. And it helped us to kind of build on that kind of community spirit and pride that we have. So really the participatory budget project was created with that kind of idea of skills and sustainability to show the children how outdoor learning can benefit them, and also that idea of benefiting the children in the future too. So the resources were purchased over the year for a long period of time for the children to use in the school. And as new children come in, they will obviously get the opportunity to use them as well. So it's been a really worthwhile project and one that's really impacted quite significantly on the children's health and well-being.
And just to say that this school year coming, we still have PED funding, and we'll be asking the schools to repeat the process again for participating budget again.
Thanks very much. That's a really good case study. So when we go up to numbers and we ask the kids where the carrots come from. Yeah. Some things kids just don't realize where vegetables come from. That's really good. Are there any questions or comments today?
Absolutely, first class, Chair. And I know it's different, but areas, but I go to Cook High School Parent Council, and I'm always amazed at how thorough they are, enthusiastic to get out, to speak to people, and it's not just lip service and what you just be doing that anyway. It was really, really thorough, and the people who were involved, the teachers and the parents and staff, and then put it out. It was amazing because they were really, really interested in what they were trying to do to get this best outcome that would suit the most people and place. So looking at all the different things here, I'm assuming I could have every school you could replicate that up and down the whole Clydesdale.
Absolutely.
And really, if you pass it, if it's not yourself, pass it to the other, that really their work is noticeable and well appreciated. And that was just because you're sitting there, that's the one that you know the most, very enthusiastic.
So I think that's us. So if you would like to read, let's take a look at the first of all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry it took so long. Okay, so when we're going to item eight, it's a following programme for people to meetings, page 36. Thanks for doing that report. I don't think we need to ask any questions about it. Okay, so that's noted. 9 is the play scheme grant applications, pages 37 and 38 on the bike card.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the standard report, which is in pages 37 and 38 of your pack, and is submitted annually in terms of play scheme grant applications. The background is set out in section 3 of the report, and there is...
I will leave this item now.
Oh, apologies. Apologies, Councillor Marsh.
If you invite me back, thanks.
Will do. Okay, apologies, yeah. So we have one application for consideration today, which is Lanark Universal Connections, who have applied for the summer school holiday period. Just to note through yourself, Chair, the recommendation in the report is actually for £550. It should be £440 because it is the summer period only. So if I can refer you back to section 2 of the report and ask if this can be approved with the amended amount. Great. I will just invite.
How are we going to do the next lot, because she's due the 21st. I think so maybe we could go away to.
She's not to come in and then leave.
Measure.
So you know which is leaving.
We could deal with Councillor Mars as it's fourth in initiative, so do we want to deal with this?
We'll bring it back in first. Bring it back in first. Actually good for the post, but don't do it for the. Still good. Yeah.
No. Do you want to deal with Kickful Bank and then we'll invite?
So I think we'll move on to the committee grant. Yeah, pages 39 to 44. So first one's going to be Kickful Bank Home and Sports Club Quells. Julia is out for that one.
Yeah, so if we deal with Kickful Bank Home and Sporting Club, you also leave, we can then deal with fourth. And then invite concerning this bank.
Okay, that sounds good.
So this is our standard report. It's 39 to 44 of the pack in respect to the community grant applications. Background is set out in section 3 of the report. A summary of the financial position is provided in section 5 of the report. And this report also requests that the action taken by the Executive Director, Finance and Corporate Resources, in consultation with the Chair, to approve the award of community grants in the period from the last area committee to the end of the financial year for 25-26 to the group detailed in Appendix 1 be noted. So the recommendations are set out in section 2 of the report. So if we first of all deal with the application from Kickful Bank Home and Sporting Club.
Oh, wait a minute.
Carol, I've only just managed to rejoin the meeting. Is this the point where I should be?
Sorry, yeah, we had decided we were going to deal with your declaration of interests for the grants, Councillor Mars, and then invite you back, and apologies.
Okay, no, I had difficulty rejoining, but I'll go again.
Thank you. Anyway, okay, so we have Kickful Bank Home and Sporting Club. Purpose of the grant is materials, administration and publicity cost. Estimated cost is £230 and the recommendation is 230.
Agreed.
Great.
So,
okay, so if we can, you also have fourth
answers, yeah, right. So I go with Julia, I think. She got CCI. She's got somebody. Was it on? Just her.
No. So if we can, if you want, no, she's a transparency student.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
So
so you will leave now. Yeah.
One,
yeah, please.
CCI first.
No, if we can do the fourth and district, and then we need to invite Peninsula and Marsh back in, so that's application I.
Is Councillor Mars leading this one?
She's out for this one, yeah.
Okay, so fourth district initiative. So that was recommendation was £1,000. Well, that agreed, is that agreed?
Yeah,
That
yes, yeah, that's agreed. Okay, so I will now just invite Councillor and Marsh back. Councillor Marsh, you're now back with us. Thank you. Okay, so if we can now deal with the Clydesdale Community Initiatives. That is application C.
Okay, application C, Clydesdale Community Initiatives, Lanark, and the recommendation is £725. Is everyone okay with that? That's
Sorry, Chair, Becky, just correcting that one. So we used to, before the criteria was changed, round up to the nearest £5. So the estimated cost is 724. Therefore, now that we are now awarding the full amount, the recommendation should be 724.
is that typo in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
So recommendation is 724 for that one. Okay, so we
I'll just get this.
No, just that I'll have a headache to get. That's been lovely.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you want to now then deal with the applications that Paisley Dowland has declared an interest in. Yeah, so Paisley Dowland, can I ask you to lead and we will deal with Western People Development Trust and the culture and wellbeing.
okay.
Western People Development Trust is Jai. One is Bill.
Well, Jai's Western People Development Trust, that's £1,000. Is that agreed? Agreed?
Yeah, agreed.
ISCON is £1,000, recommendations £1,000, is that agreed?
Can I ask,
Sorry.
sorry, I didn't understand what this was.
Sorry, it's the
Oh, sorry, it's no. Sorry, I'm the wrong one. No, it's GOX, governance now. Wellbeing CIC, 300 start up course.
Well, what I wanted to ask is, are these two connected?
That is Con and
Gosh.
And what goes on?
what's that? No, I think they have the different applicants here.
I'm assuming you obviously have to get different ideas, different names,
Yeah.
because different applicants. That's fine.
Okay, stuck in.
That's got all the declarations on here.
Yes.
I'm just waiting for the rest there, so it's the Robert's Church, is that correct? £300, is that agreed? Then we have the D, Erskine Rural Institute, 350. Is that agreed? Agreed. Carnworth Agricultural Society, £1,000, is that agreed? Leinster WRI, £500, but they only get 300 because it's an outing. Agreed. Waterside WRI was the Hego, 450, but they only get 300, it's an outing. Agreed.
Agreed, yeah.
Blackwood Victoria Bowling Club, 446, but they can only get 300, it's a bowling club. Agreed.
Agreed.
We've got ISCON Scotland Limited, £1,000, and that's £1,000 we're recommending. Is that agreed?
Excellent. What is the? Is it, that's right, at the moment.
And that is all of the grants. Let's do that.
Pages.
So you're all agreed. So I've got no urgent business, so I'd like to thank you all for attending today, and I've declared the meeting closed. Thank you.
Thank you, thanks to the chair.
Bye.
So we give now about pro rata for the period.
Yeah.
The amount of money, I've lost it again now.